What's up, guys? Welcome to the Scalers Only Show, where we talk real estate, business, and lifestyle, and everything in between. Today, I've got my great friend Megan Harris here. She is the CEO of Empora Title. She started the company under the premise the title process is archaic and inefficient, and I could not agree more. Megan's background is in building technology for real estate and insurance companies, and she was recognized as one of the 30 under 30 in Forbes in 2022. She's also raised over $26 million, that's right, $1 million for her
rich
very
and famous. Literally.
For her title company. I could not be more excited to have her here. And I think this is one of the first stops on your podcast tour, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And could not be happier to start it right
She even brought her tour manager over here, Gina. Crazy. She's got like an entourage when she rolls in. It's kind of funny. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
So I got to ask, why did you get involved in title business? Was it just that you saw like an opportunity? Was it you saw the inefficiencies with it? Like, where did that all come from? Because me personally, I've never woke up and said, yeah, I want to get in title.
Not many people do, if I'm being honest. It's a great question. So like you said, my background is in technology. And when I got out of college, I grew up here in Ohio, went to OSU, started working for startups here in Columbus. And I started my career at a startup that was selling software to title companies. And so I was the one who had to go and sit next to everybody and figure out how to get them to change how they were doing things. And I was watching these really talented people inside these title companies deal with crappy old software and want to change things, but not know how to do it. And just banged my head against the wall for the better part of 4 years trying to figure it out. And long story short, when I really dug into it, you find out that title is the bedrock of all real estate transactions. Title companies handle all the data, all the money, the whole experience.
True. You know where we're headed. You see where the trends are.
Oh, yeah,
said
100%.
Bedrock. Like this, like real estate's a skyscraper, but you got to have the bedrock.
Of course. I mean, you just think about the way that technology has just changed how we work. Maybe a decade or two from now, real estate agents will look super different. Who knows how the whole industry is going to shake out.
The way you put that, super different. That's a polite way of saying the agent is dead. No, I'm kidding. We're not going to go there today.
We've been through that one.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't really have a horse in that race. It's just whatever's best for, the people who need the help, right? Whatever consumers want. But somebody is always going to need to facilitate the transfer of ownership. Like there's always going to be a need for a third party to facilitate a funds transfer. And that could look like a title company. It can look like a platform. It could look like a bunch of different things. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of really talented people in title who, are carrying these businesses on their back with really old tools. And so I just couldn't get away from it.
Is it very systematic, like the whole title process? Or is it more like a personal thing? 'Cause I'm trying to figure out, is AI going to affect that or somehow take over a lot of that, or something that AI could do or you guys use? Or
Yeah, it's a great question. When we think about it, it really is. It's like the title process is, you just think about one file. It's like 300 yes/no decisions.
Yeah, we don't want
right?
to think about that. That's your job.
You don't want to think about that.
Yeah.
And if you have somebody who kind of makes it look like those aren't happening, that means they're doing a really good job. So that's where the relationship comes into play. You can call a person, you just trust that they're going to handle it. But yeah, there's a ton of decisions happening in the background, and most of it, you can map out and say, what's the logic for this and how can you systemize it? But then there's if you think about 80-20 rules, that's like the 80%. And then there's the 20% where, you really just need somebody who understands you and your business and your clientele to help you, get a signing done at the 11th hour, right? Like maybe literally the 11th hour of the day. And I think that's where the relationship comes into play and where a lot of tech companies have failed in the past. Failure to acknowledge that and the role that those people play.
Because I always scream systems, right? Like, especially with Scalers Only, our mastermind, our community, it's like systems. But somewhere along the way, the relationship is going to fall within that system, right?
Of course.
And I think that's one of the things you guys have done extremely well is the relationship. Like me and Gina, your entourage, we were talking about the first time you came to this office and did a closing, and I was not closing any transactions with you guys, right? And the way that you kind of just bent over backwards, made sure everything was right. You brought the paper file. You were beyond nice. And I was kind of giving you a little bit of a hard time, quite frankly, just because, I'm a loyal person and like to stick to, my people. And, but like, if you're doing that with every transaction, you will absolutely grow this thing to the moon and the stars. Like that.
Or recognizing the problems, which you guys have. I'm not going to lie, my first transaction sucked with you guys. But then, like, you actually addressed it and it was fixed right away. It's like, holy crap, like, you guys do listen, and that's the best part about you guys. I mean, seriously, I think that's a lot of growth there, too.
Well, let's back up first. So, like, before this whole thing, before you raising a shit ton of money, building this company to what the monster it is today, like, what did you do? Where was you working? What were you doing? Like,
yeah, honestly, so my dad's an immigrant, moved here in the 80s. He came here from Europe, grew up in England, and I grew up in rural Ohio, showed horses at the county fair, was a county fair queen at one point in time.
County fair queen.
Oh, man, we need some pictures of this. We're digging up pictures somewhere.
There are pictures.
What do they call what's that hat called?
The crown?
The cowgirl hat or cowboy hat, right? No, like the rodeo hat. Yeah. You did that whole thing?
I didn't do that whole thing, but I had a crown. It was not a...
The quarter horse commerce and all that?
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
See,
no.
a crown, I said it right.
Ohio roots, and I went to Ohio State and just, really got involved in the entrepreneurial and technology community there. And so I was working for different startups and just really fell in love with entrepreneurship by way of trying to, roll up my sleeves in these businesses and just try to, deliver insane value, right? And then happened upon the title process, and I was like, man, there's so much value here that, is not being captured, and there's just a way better experience. You can do so much online now. Why do you have to sign a stack of papers? Why do you have to drive to, somebody's office to sign a stack of papers in the middle of the day to buy a house? It makes no sense.
It used to be cool. It's like cool when you first start, and like when you have to do it a couple times, right? You're like, this is inefficient. Like, I got to go 30 minutes here, 30 minutes back. Got to go to the bank. Got to grab the cashier's check. Like, it's an all-day thing.
Yeah, definitely. So, wind the clock back a little bit, farther back. When I was selling software to title companies, I was trying to integrate stuff into their systems. They're really old systems that you just don't change. So I was like, all right, the only way to do this is to replace them and their systems and compete to deliver the best experience. And so that's what I was doing before this.
Huh.
Was trying to sell to my competitors.
What was your first job?
Oh, man, my first job. Oh, man, I think my first job, I was 14 years old. My parents were those parents. And my first job was a Young's Jersey Dairy.
A what?
Young's Jersey Dairy. It's
What's
a
that?
farm.
It sounds very, very
Like a Dairy Queen?
Yeah. No, it's like you could take your kids and get ice cream, and they've got, a bunch of stuff. So
A Dairy Queen.
Not quite, but I'll take it. So, I mean, I think, I had like 10 jobs in high school before going to college.
Oh, wow.
You just not a good employee or what?
No, I wanted to make money. I was trying to make money.
You're like,
Young
you're going to
hustler
give me a
in the house.
15-cent raise. You give me a 15-cent raise or I walk out.
Yeah.
I quit right now. I come work for you.
Yeah. It's like, okay, want to go to school? Like, figure it out. Got to, work and
Where
pay
did
for it.
you go to school?
Ohio State.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. So I was in
Go
the...
Bucks.
Go
OH.
I-O. Yep.
Entourage.
Yep. So, yeah, I had a great experience there. And, like I said, found a couple of really great opportunities here in Columbus and stayed here. And it's treated me really well ever since. So,
for someone like, I don't want to say significantly older, but like you talk like, even when I first met you, you talk like someone that's owned companies forever. Like you speak the lingo, you speak the language. You throw out all those fancy business terms, even when I first met you. Like, did that come naturally? Is that just how you talk? Like, is that just you or what? I'm like trying to remember this stuff. I'm like, jot this down, use this in your language, make you sound really smart.
I don't know how to answer that question.
I'm like, you talk like a person that's
You're a
owned
pro
companies
speaker.
forever.
You're like a Steve Jobs. Like, you actually have like a presence and you talk and...
I mean, I've always been focused. I will say that. I've always been focused. I've always had something that I'm driving towards.
Well spoken.
And
That's the word. That's the word.
I couldn't
just
even
can't
say that.
either. We need to read more dictionaries. I
She's
think.
good at speaking.
It was that county fair queen training. That's what it was. Yeah. No.
Did you have to do the wave like this too?
No. Nope.
Thought it was cool. Can you do one?
Nope, I can't. You just said it. I can't follow that up with a better one. So, I don't know. Yeah, I've always been interested in how to build insane value, whether that's for the people I care about, or a business, or a use case, or a product that I care about. I've always been driving towards something, so that forces
So
you to
you
learn.
like to create things and like to see them blossom into something.
Yeah, to something real
Yeah.
that makes money and helps people.
Is there like something you did as like a kid that like, I don't know, did you try to like, were you like the lemonade stand kid, or did this just come out of nowhere, or were you just kind of always built like that, or what?
I mean, I think anybody listening who has immigrant roots probably will relate to this. But when you have immigrant roots, like you have a work ethic like baked into your genetics. Like people who move to the U.S. to do something. Yeah, it's
Your
part of it.
entourage is cheering you on over there.
You're taught super early that anything you want, you have to go get and create. Like nothing will be handed.
I love that mentality. Oh,
Yeah.
Why do you think that, like, I mean, that's just not like something that I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying this, but it's something that not a lot of like people that are born here generally have, unless their parents gift them that, Why do you think that is?
I'm not a parent, so I honestly have no
Take
idea.
it for granted. You have it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, all I can say is that based on my experience having my starting point being like anything you want, you have to create. And if you want to bring value to the people around you, you have to go out and do it for yourself. Nothing will be handed. I think just having that mindset drilled in early made all the difference, but I don't know, because I don't have kids.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because immigrants come here and they have to earn it and learn it and do it right. They came here to escape what they haven't, to get the American way, not because they already had it. Over here, you already had it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember my dad having
I
a
think.
conversation with me, like maybe a couple years ago, where, there's stuff about where he's from, England, that sounds a little bit nicer than here, in some cases.
England used to own us, America.
Yeah. Don't they somehow still, like with Fort Knox and the gold or something like
We
that?
speak
I don't
English,
know.
or do we speak American? Wait, what?
Well
Yeah.
done. Well done.
Yeah, and,
See what you
and
did there.
he sat me down. He was like, "Do you think you would ever start a company if you grew up in England at the time that I did?" And he was like, "No." The answer is no. So you don't know what you're talking about if you think that these other countries have it better in any way, really, and you should just focus on what's in your control and go get it. And I don't know. Yeah, it was a few years ago, and it's definitely changed my perspective ever since.
So we're both based in Columbus, Ohio. And for me, I'm a huge believer in Columbus, right? Like, we have the CHIPS Act. We're the Silicon Heartland. There's all these cool things that are going on in Columbus, but Columbus is not really known as, like, startup country, right? I mean, it's starting to get there. But do you find, like, and you're in what, like 14 different states or something crazy already? You're going to be nationwide, all 50 states by the end of the year, which is crazy in 4 years. But, like, how has like anchoring your business in Columbus either hurt you or helped you along the last couple of years?
Yeah, great question. I mean, Columbus has something super special about it. I mean, obviously we go to all these national real estate conferences together, and you can kind of hear. It's where I see you more there than here, honestly. And I just feel like Columbus has a certain camaraderie about it, no matter what sector you're in, whether it's real estate or technology or whatever it might be, that people just want to see the city do well, and so they're more willing to lend a hand to somebody who's on their way up than a lot of other places. And for whatever reason that is, it's helped a lot of people, including us. And so for me, Columbus has really helped us in the sense that a lot of our early people, I mean, I think I met you first in Costa Rica.
Yeah.
And so I got invited on that trip because I went to college with one of the people who was on that trip, who was a real estate investor. And when I decided to start Empora, he was the first person I reached out to. And I was like, "Hey, you're in real estate. I'm starting a title company. Can we talk?" So I just think that, that trip, like, literally set the stage for the first 2 years of the company in terms of who we were building relationships with. And there's just moments like that it's really hard to like put a dollar value on that. And I don't hear about that kind of thing happening in other communities. So it seems to be really unique to here. And it's been a great place for us to build.
There's I actually wrote that down, the Columbus camaraderie, and going back to that trip in Costa Rica, that was like it was an amazing trip. And like, we didn't know you guys, and we knew a lot of the investors, and that were on there, and there was no like mastermind or nothing. It was like, hey, we're just gonna go vacation, and then I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, she's like, yeah, I want to go to Costa Rica, and it was right before our wedding, so
Yeah.
we had to make sure to go. But like building relationships along that trip, it wasn't like, hey, we're gonna hang out for 6-7 days and then never talk again, because that's not the Columbus camaraderie that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you started your business maybe, and I'm not knocking like California or maybe some other city that you might see a lot of startups in, but there is something to be said. Columbus is like the biggest small town where like if you do something, stabs on the back.
We're the
people
heart
are
of
gonna
it
know
all.
about it.
Yep.
But
They're the heart of it
if
all.
you do great, it's like there's still some people that you might not know, but for the most part, everyone knows everyone to be such a big town too.
Yeah, 100%. That's 100% true. And I think that, I don't know, you can really feel that from a reputation standpoint with everybody that you work with.
We're nice people, minus Terry. Kidding.
Yeah, I'm the asshole out of the group.
No,
Yeah.
we're known for being nice people. I have a question for you though. How many states are you guys doing title work in right now?
We're currently doing work in 7 states,
Then how many years have you guys been around now?
just over 3.
So what did you notice like between last year and this year and like latter part of the previous year as far as what kind of people are doing closings? Do you see more investors doing closings now? Do you see more first-time home buyers? Or because you guys see the data,
Yeah.
kind of shows like where we're headed like this next year or whatnot, kind of forecasting like where do you see the trends going right now?
So we're completely investor focused. Focus is everything when you're building a company. Say yes to a few things, do them really well. Say no to everything else. So for us, I mean, investors 18 months ago were way more aggressive. On that trip, actually, I remember hearing a couple people say that hard money loans don't default. And I wonder
Wow.
if that would still...
Wow, I wonder who said. I'm trying to remember who said that.
No.
I remember.
Snitches get stitches, right?
That's
So
an age
like,
well, that comment.
That's
huh?
right. That's right.
yeah, it doesn't age well. So, I just think people are a lot more aggressive, or a lot less aggressive. We're a lot more aggressive then. A lot of people going back to the fundamentals. I think there's a lot less. It seems like a lot less new people just coming into the business and trying to do a lot of deals quickly. It definitely seems like, at least in Columbus, there's a lot of people getting connected in through the different like mentorship groups and just training groups that really help people get off the ground. So I think that's a good thing, to be honest. I mean, especially in tech, people were spending just insane amounts of capital on crap and just wasting money and lighting it on fire. And that hurts companies that, are not, and they're trying to compete with companies that are, just a lot more aggressive in terms of how they measure their progress. And I think it's better, honestly, for everybody to get back to fundamentals. I mean, I've never really had the stomach to light $20 million on fire and it not matter, but a lot of tech entrepreneurs have over the past few years. And I'm sure there's an example like that in real estate too, where a couple of years ago, people were just willing to do a lot more aggressive deals than they are now. So it definitely seems like on the agent side too, people are starting to at least say that they're seeing more activity.
Yeah.
And I hope that continues, honestly, because we obviously still have a big supply problem and something has to give. And unless, things really change from a supply perspective, or the builders get a lot more leverage than they have right now, we fully believe that the regional investor is like the heart of keeping the real estate economy moving in the Midwest and some of the coastal cities too. And it's just a really important part of keeping the wheel turning for everyone.
How does Columbus fare compared to other cities? Like, are you seeing as far as volume and transactions?
I mean, according to all the normal rating systems, really well. We get all the top 10 lists, and we pay attention to the market reports. And Columbus is consistently in the top. Sometimes you even see Cleveland and Cincinnati up there in terms of places to go and
I don't know.
live.
I
And
don't know how Cleveland made it, but
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know
Properties are
either.
cheap. You can buy
But
10 for the price of one. That's why.
yeah, yeah,
It's a 2-for-1 special.
yeah. So I mean, I am long on Columbus real estate. That's for sure, and I think it's not going anywhere.
she used the stock market term. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going long on Columbus. If you were going to bet on cities like horses, like which one you betting on?
Which race?
The 10-year race.
And the prettiest one.
I mean, the prettiest. We're not even going to go down that rabbit hole.
You were about to. Go ahead.
I was about
Do
to.
it.
I mean, everybody
peer
who
pressure.
knows me, my favorite city is Manhattan, New York.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
I
you
talk
are,
about it all
man.
the time. It's my favorite place in the world. Miami's also really pretty, and lots of people have bets out on them. But The 10-year race, I mean, look, I think, yeah, the big cities that are non-coastal are going to continue to fare well. 20 years from now, it's going to be really interesting to see how coastal cities and coastal real estate pans out with just the resource constraints that we are all, going to face over the next 100 years.
It might sink in the next 20 years.
Well, check this out. There's only two, like for apartment buildings, for instance, in Florida, there's only two companies that will insure these apartment buildings, which is, that's wild. So, like, you have a claim on one, like, you're down to one company. Like, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So, like, then there's these, increased costs. Like, where do you go get insurance? Taxes, and then you got to get wind and hit. And, like, so I think you're absolutely right on that. Like, the coastal cities, it is going to be interesting just from a cost perspective.
Yeah.
What happens to them. Like,
yep.
Very interesting.
100%. I was talking
I still
to
love them.
Yeah, I still love them too. I'll visit them until they get to that point, you know. But like Columbus, I would bet on Columbus for sure. And obviously, I'm biased, but I think it's a good bet. I mean, to be honest, even some of the newer cities out west, Phoenix and Denver, still obviously going to be huge. Even like Austin and some of the big Texas cities, those are going to continue to thrive. So I would bet on all those.
I would bet on Columbus too. That's why I kind of have. But I was just curious, kind of what you were seeing though. If like there's like this market that we're kind of missing. Like there's only so much that, like you talked about regional investors. There's only so much an investor can do in one city.
Yeah.
Is like with my business model, for instance, we buy single family homes, we buy the same house over and over again. We rent them out, refinance them with a bank. But it's like if I could drag and drop that model into another city, I've always wondered, where am I going? Am I going to Indianapolis? Am I going to go to Lexington, Kentucky? Am I going to go to Grand Rapids? Am I going to go to like where would I spiral out to?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I might have a slightly different take on this. I think that the funds and even some of the really large tech companies that are trying to buy like thousands of houses, they're always going, like, they're going to win on the regression to the mean strategy every single time, right? But investors have an edge on them when they know something about the market, or they're, more connected, or they have somebody on their acquisitions team who's willing to drive out and meet with the seller in person when a tech company can't.
Right.
And so if you can build that kind of advantage in any market, whether it's, you just take the raw ingredients of Columbus and repeat it somewhere else, if I were an investor, that's what I would be doing, because I think that those companies are never going to be able to compete with smaller investors on that realm.
What's your take on hedge funds? Do you guys do title work for hedge funds?
We do title work for hedge funds.
That's awesome. Do you have any intel? How they doing?
No.
I was trying.
Pause the camera now, do you?
No. Listen, I think there's a place. Like, for instance, back in the crash of 2010, if it wasn't for investors, like, the shit would have got way worse. Because these houses had to go to someone, right? And they couldn't go to squat. Like, there had to be someone to clean up the mess, right? Yeah. I just want, because they overbought so much in such a short amount of time. And, one of the, like, for instance, one of the things that we're seeing on our end is we're seeing rent prices almost crash with some of these funds, a couple in particular, but things that might rent for, say, $1,500, now it's renting for $1,150, and you're like, how in the hell is, and then you go to the rest of the properties, you're like, how are they doing this? Because this doesn't pencil out on their Excel spreadsheets. Like, if it doesn't pencil out on their Excel spreadsheets, maybe there's a cash problem. So I don't know. I just think it's going to be interesting with how much they bought over a short amount of time, and how they're going to end up dealing with it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they certainly have been super aggressive and have been acquiring all over the place. But I think that the regional investor is always going to have an upper hand on what I said before. So they're always going to get the more competitive deals, and I think that, I don't know. I mean, I think funds also, people are focused on the wrong problem when they think about funds having too much control over the market, just from my perspective. I was reading a post from the National Renters Council, one of those groups, recently on LinkedIn, and they surprised me that they said that like less than 8% of all SFR properties are owned by institutional funds.
I would say even less than that. I mean, there's some cities where they went gangbusters, like some in California or Atlanta, Nashville. But like, ours, I mean, it's not even a major issue.
No, not at all. Not at all. So
question for you. When you're not building your business, like, what's your hobby? Like, do you go like, I don't know. Like, do you do you do podcasts? Do you
still like horses?
Do you
ride horses?
Horses? Do you like, I don't know, taking a telescope out at night and scoping out the
Do you
stars?
practice your British accent?
Long walks on the
No.
beach.
I don't practice my British accent. I ride horses. I've been doing that since I was, 8 years old.
Do you have any horses?
No, I don't. One day that'd be great. But I ride horses. I play the saxophone. I don't know if
Which
you
one?
know
I
that.
do too. I play alto sax. And I play bari sax.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh my goodness.
Bari sax is taller than you are.
and probably heavier.
We're gonna start a band, damn it.
Yeah,
Festivals.
yeah. We've talked about having an Empora band at a couple different points. So,
That would be awesome.
yeah,
Isn't he a drummer?
we do.
I play drums. Like, sure you do, Bam Bam.
I know you play drums. I've heard you play drums.
When?
You posted on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting better.
Yeah,
I'll get better.
it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
fun,
He's in a
though.
band.
Like when you have like an outlet like that.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Where like you just kind of feel like you're in your flow state.
You still actually
Yep.
play the sax, though? Because I haven't played a sax in probably years and years, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, no, actually, my partner refurbished mine for Christmas, like 2 Christmases ago, and just got, it redone. And it's just like a really nice creative outlet, where it's
Can
like
you
you
play
can
like Kenny
just. I don't try. But, you can just be creative and it not be tied to anything. You don't have to optimize it. You don't have to maximize it. You don't have to justify it. You just do it,
That's hold on. Say it again.
That's so
You don't
broken
have to
down.
maximize it. You don't have to justify.
Optimize-
Optimize it.
Justify. We pay attention. Good job, Terry.
Dude, I love that. I mean, like for me, like playing drums, it's like I'm not the greatest. I can keep time pretty good. I like to play certain stuff, but like it's just for me.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. You just like bashing things.
I do. Yeah. It's
You
like
seen the broken monitors upstairs? I'm kidding.
that was last year. It's a new year, new me, Bobby. But no, it's awesome. So,
Yeah.
what else?
I love to cook.
Yeah.
I love to cook. Again, my partner makes fun of me because he's always trying to help me, save time on different things. And anytime I make a Sunday dinner, it's like a 5-hour affair.
Yeah, cooking does not save you time, but it's still
It's
fun.
not. It's super fun. Again, it's like, all right, well, I tried something and got messed up, but that's fine. Just whatever. order
What's your
pizza.
forte? What's your best thing?
Mac and cheese.
Knows me too well.
Terry learned how to make wings this last year.
I did.
Grill some wings. Proud of you.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a best, to be honest. I'm not good at baking, but anything that's just like a normal, dinner dish, I can try pretty much anything.
What's an English dish? Like fish and chips?
Yeah.
Fish and chips. I mean, the Brits are notorious for shitty food.
You know what their
Oh,
national
man.
dish is? No, you know what their national dish is?
What?
Curry. Yeah, it is. Google it.
Yeah.
What?
It
Yeah.
is, yeah.
How?
Because they stole it from India. Took the jewels and shit.
Like IPAs, right? Because it used to be pale ales, and then they stole all the spices from India, and then
I
now we
guess
got
so.
IPAs. Thank God.
Wrong Indians, dummy.
Oh,
Not feather Indian, dot Indian, dumbass.
they came up the Cape Horn, South Africa to England, and they brought all the extra hops and.
I think it's time for some more bread.
Yeah.
You travel around a lot for Empora, like for work. I realize, like you're not based here. I mean, you're based here, but you're kind of not. You're always everywhere. But does that take away the enjoyment from actually traveling as a hobby for you, or do you actually still like to go certain places, or have a
No,
favorite
I
place
love
to go?
I love to travel as a hobby.
Minus New York. What's your favorite place to go to?
I love the mountains.
Really?
I think mountainous places are really fun to go. You can hike. I actually went to Cannon Beach in Oregon last year. Stayed with some friends out there, and it was awesome. It was mountains and beach, but it was also really low key. So it was like
Yeah.
a beach town, but it wasn't like touristy. It was just great. It was so chill,
Nice.
wonderful.
So you like
Beautiful
relaxing
place.
places then to go to, for sure.
Yeah, it's really like you kind of got to do one thing really well. You're either going to relax or you're going to like be in a huge city, and you shouldn't try to mix the two.
So books or movies then?
Books or movies? Oh, books.
I'm a
Books.
movie person. I just like reading. Maybe because I can't read so
Yeah,
well.
you can't read. That's the problem. Every time I send you a fucking email, dude, it's like
Oh, okay, Mr. Let me email the same thing 3 times in a row to, what was it?
he called me today, didn't he? Yeah. So I was trying. So actually, I got someone.
He triple posted
Great.
an email.
Great introduction for you. But I wanted to get his attention because he's like kept trying to put me off. So I just emailed him a bunch of times in a row.
He said, sorry, I missed this. Sorry, I missed this. Sorry, I missed this. I'm like,
And
what?
you know who I got a call from? And I got a podcast date. And we have him coming into our mastermind. And we got an affiliate set up with him. That's right.
It works.
So persistence pays.
persistence.
I still think
phase.
he did it on accident. That's just his cover, but
It was an accident because I got this delayed email sender on, and so I'm like, why is this not sending? And I'm like, I just kept clicking it.
this thing's going off. I'm like, what the heck is he?
And then our assistant Thea, she's like, is your email broken, or like, did you mean to do that 5 times in a row? I'm like, yeah, I meant to do that.
Definitely meant to do that.
Yeah,
It's
Eddie?
technique. It's skill.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, going back to your company, what you're building, what you're doing this year, goal this year is to, obviously, you're going full national. What are some of the other goals, things you're trying to accomplish, I guess, in the next, we'll say 12 to 24 months?
The biggest thing that we're proving in the next 12 to 24 months is that we are here to win this market, and we are going to build the product that is game over for everybody else. And so you were asking about AI earlier, and our goal is to own not just having the best technology, but also the best people in the industry to come and work for our team, just building a company that they really want to be a part of and feel like they can be rewarded for, frankly, what I think is one of the hardest jobs I've ever had. Being an escrow officer is harder than starting a tech company.
They got to deal with people like us.
So Megan was on our mastermind call earlier, and one of the things that I wrote down as she was speaking, I have it right here, escrow officer, investor, CSM, all the bullshit. Literally wrote it in big bold caps. But yeah, I mean, you deal with a lot of BS, and it's like, how do you keep like your head up, like when you're just getting pounded every day?
That's a good question. That is a learned skill for sure. But honestly, we have an amazing team. We have an amazing team who is committed to building something great and has real grit. I'm super proud of them for that, especially, talking about being an immigrant's daughter. It's like my team has grit. They're, capable of really riding the wave. But I think, I also think a lot about just dealing with what's in your own control. Like, we have a North Star. We know what we need to build. We know what we need to fix. Just fix the problem. Move on. Fix the problem for the next 20 people, the next 100 people, and that's all you can really do. So try not to get caught up in the ups and downs of the day-to-day. Those will always come and go. And frankly, as you get bigger, there's going to be more of them. As we get bigger, there's going to be more and more of them. So can't let it hold you back.
So you read. What are your top, and you strike me as a person that does read some business books and reads a lot of non-business books. Did I hit the nail on the head on that one?
Yeah.
Either you're reading business or not.
Dude,
What book stands out to you behind him?
I
Quick
saw
glance.
Traction first.
That's
I've read
a
that.
lot of people, dude. Like,
Yeah, no, it's a really
yeah.
famous one. Never Eat Alone, The Black Swan. Those probably 3 stick out the most.
What are some of your personal favorites, though?
Personal favorites.
I like coloring books.
Coloring books are great. They're so
It's so hard to
underrated.
stay in those lines, though. Oh my gosh, dude! Why are the lines? Who put lines in the coloring book? You should be able to color everywhere.
That's
Bobby,
just called a blank sheet
they do
paper.
it for people like you who need lines. Okay,
Yeah.
I like the ones that are watercolor, where you don't even need color. You just put water on it and it automatically changes to the right color.
such a fucking
Oh, that's so awesome. That's what I want for Christmas.
That's why we don't go to Applebee's together. It's because you got to get the kids menu.
It's so awesome, though.
Can you read the kids menu?
No, I don't need just
There you go.
pictures.
It's pictures. There you go.
I want that.
So actually, I just read a book recently called Who, which
Who? What?
it's just called Who.
Who?
And it's about just the role that people have on your team and just how much difference it makes when you have the right people and how costly it is when you have the wrong people on your team. And if you can get the people right on your team, so many other things take care of themselves. And the book is amazing. We actually have our whole hiring manager team reading it. And if you want to hire people at Empora, you have to read that book first.
The sequel is going to be what? And then where?
And how and why.
Why?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm surprised that wasn't a book, like just a 3-word title.
It was. Who?
Before that.
Yeah, so that's definitely a favorite of mine. And then, personally, different books that I really like. There is a modern day philosophy guy, and I'm going to butcher his name because I don't speak French, but it's Alain de Botton. Looks like Alain de Botton.
Alain de Botton.
Alan
Yeah,
Button.
there you go. Alan
Like
Button.
Benjamin Button's cousin.
Got it.
And his whole thing is he has read all of the classical philosophy books and tries to translate them into a way that, people can digest really quickly. And so he's got like at least 50 books, and I've read 6 of them, and he's great. So I really love his book. So everything from status anxiety, not comparing yourself to other people and having anxiety about, like, am I keeping up enough?
Yeah.
To, the struggles of love and relationships and just the different, things you experience when you are failing with somebody, and just anything about, modern day life. If you're having a problem, he's probably written a book about how to solve it. So I love his series.
So I wrote this down because you were talking about it earlier, but AI, we got to talk about it. So because the title business notoriously has been clunky and all that stuff, you have this supreme software. How is AI going to integrate into everything that you're doing? And because one of the fears with AI is, it's going to displace jobs and we're going to lose. I personally think the opposite. I feel like people are going to be elevated to do higher level activity, but not a lot of people think like that. It just goes back to that abundance versus scarcity mindset. But I don't know, what is it going to do for your company, your software, and what how you're going to grow?
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't agree more. I 100% agree. I think, at least in our business, AI can give people the tools to do a lot more and do higher leverage activities. So, for example, a title curative on our team, they do not need to spend time calling Wells Fargo to order a mortgage payoff, right? But we do need them reviewing complicated surveys for issues that their skill sets are actually needed for.
Right.
And so our goal is to use technology to automate the things that it can, and then empower people to spend more time on, frankly, the activities they probably enjoy more and are, more interesting problems to solve. Title in particular, I mean, so much of what our people do is translate information from the outside world into our system. So we look at, our team looks at documents all day, every day in, day out, all day, every day, and decides what to do about them. So the first thing we've spent a lot of time on is that, actually being able to scan data from documents and put it into our system. So we actually built a model that we released for our technology friends. We put it in production this year, meaning where our system actually uses it. It's not just a test thing on the side anymore. When you upload a purchase contract into our system, we automatically scan it and pull all the relevant data off of it that we can.
So it's almost like a PDF reader.
Yeah.
That spits it into the system.
Right. There you go.
Love that.
Yep. So I think that's going to be huge. I think certainly there are probably aspects of service that you can use AI to help with, like basic questions, but kind of to your point earlier, the 80-20 rule definitely applies there, where sometimes you do just need somebody who knows your whole business and, you had a conversation with 4 days ago, you got to reference that. You don't want to spend, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that's still going to be super important, and we believe that's going to be the case into perpetuity. But for the stuff that allows my people who have the skills to do that, to do more of that, I want more of that.
I love that you said the 80-20 rule because, one of the things I always say is we used to kind of put stuff on a virtual assistance plate. And that was hey, if they can do 80% and then now you're just reviewing work and then doing the other 20%, that was kind of the way for over the last 10 years or so. But now it's okay, now we have AI. Now AI is going to get them to do another 80%, and now you just have to capture that 5%. So it's it's compounding on compounding.
100%.
What do you think is the biggest hurdle to get to that point?
Biggest hurdle to get to that point, time.
Something that just takes time to implement and put in.
Yeah, I mean the technology has come so far. It's 4 or 5 years ago, I was working on a pilot for the Washington County Auditor, where we built a OCR scanner that scanned the tax forms that you have to sign at closing that go to the counties.
Okay.
And it pulled the data off of that document and translated it into their system. The technology was in a completely different spot at that point, but now, it's really, really come far. But it takes time to train it, right? So it takes time to say, okay, our team sees 200 different kinds of documents every single day. We kind of have to go one by one and, spend the time to build the automation. And we could probably put 20 engineers on that today and have work for 2 years. But we also have to run the business while we make those long-term investments.
So I think a common theme is that conference, we're talking to people about AI and how it can help, but just the time implementing it in and conversion doing that. And people still have to run their business. So it's like, where do you balance that?
And
kind
one
of
of the cool things with you too is you're not a typical tech entrepreneur where, like we talked about burning cash and, I'm just going to grow, and then I'll figure all the shit out later, because that's how most of these people run those businesses. And when you have a large runway, like, you can do that. But you're like, hey, I'm trying to get profitable as soon as possible. And you have. No?
No.
Have it?
No.
it's a tech company, bro.
But,
No.
Never profit. I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
Yeah, we're on our way, though. It's great.
You guys definitely
but
are.
from what I do know,
Yeah.
like, you're close.
Yeah.
But like you're hitting that already. That's kind of incredible. So like, to me, like I just think that's something. There's something to be said for that. Like, you're working for that immediately, as opposed to this like 10-year time horizon, 15-year, and just burning cash in the meantime.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Yeah, it's something that we've prioritized really from the get-go, because we want to control our own destiny, right? And really build a company that we're proud of. And, turning a profit is a really good thing for everybody involved.
It is.
So,
What's the biggest lesson you've learned through all of this and to get to where you are? And what would you recommend for a young entrepreneur that's starting up and trying to get whatever business it is, trying to get to a certain point? And, are there any shortcuts, or what are your recommendations or advice you would give?
I like shortcuts.
yeah.
Cliff notes.
I think that fortitude and commitment are probably the most important things to get through the ups and downs. So I literally remember where I was when I decided to start Empora. I was standing in front of my house in German Village that I was renting back in 2019. And I was reading an announcement about one of our tech competitors raising capital and, getting to the next phase. And I remember looking at my phone and thinking, like, this is not the play. This is not how you win this market. This isn't how you solve this problem. And
You're like, I'll show you guys how to do it.
yeah. Like, I remember asking myself, like, okay, do I really want to do this? Like, if I died and I didn't do this, how would I feel about it? And regret was the first word that came to mind. And I was like, all right, time to start this company. And I just started, in that moment I committed. Like, I knew that, it could be a decade of pain, honestly.
Was it hard being like a younger female at the same time too? Because I know in this industry it's a very male dominated industry too. Or did you not see any of those barriers in the tech, since tech's more?
To be honest, I just stay focused on the things that are in my control, and that's what I do. So
it's something you don't think about at all.
I mean, I would be lying if I said, it's never come up in any conversation. Certainly I have to be more conscientious about how I approach, some of these conferences when you're out late. It's, midnight. It's like, all right, should I, go out alone? But just like you would any other normal scenario.
You got bodyguards right here.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
You bring your entourage.
And entourage.
Yeah, entourage. I got a great team. But no, I try not to focus on that, because like that's not in my control. And there's been just honestly a lot of really great partners in real estate, regardless of gender, that have really helped us get to where we're going. So try not to think about it, honestly.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Just head down, mindset, don't give a shit, I'm going.
Well, yeah, because you got to think every day. It's like, all right, if I got to have X number more conversations to get something done, then that's the number of conversations you got to have.
It is what it is, kind of.
Whatever. Like, so got to keep moving, and build a well-rounded team that comes from different backgrounds and can solve the problems that we need to solve. And I'm super proud of that. So yeah, overall it's been really great. But yeah, having the commitment to say, all right, I care about something enough that I'm going to solve this problem and I'm going to stick to it for however long it takes. Like, that decision and moment in time is super important, because I think the biggest thing that I see is entrepreneurs picking companies or problems or things that, like, they like the thing, but they don't want to, like, have to stay the night at their office one night to get something done. Or, you guys know, like, you're entrepreneurs. Like, there's so much shit that surrounds making the thing stay alive, just keeping
I want to own a bar
going.
and just drink. I don't want to do the numbers.
Yeah. So you have to have something that you're willing to sacrifice for, and making sure that you know that going.
He opened a bar just because he wanted to drink the beer. He's like, wait, I got to do work too.
Dude, drinking beer was
profit
work.
margin. Wait, what's that? I thought I had the profit margin.
Talking to somebody about. I'm like, dude, I had to drink beer every single day. Lunch meeting 11:30. Yeah, what beers we getting? And you're like 4 beers deep with like a banker, and you're like, yeah, this is not a good idea. But like, you're hungover from the last day, and then Yeah, it was not a good idea. Yeah, don't do a bar unless you're ready for it. So, speaking of, one of the things that I sucked at in sales was I was a little bit aggressive. I'm like, why aren't you doing this? My tact was not there. It's been a learned behavior, but I just realized that I had to make more calls than other people. That I had to get there earlier than other people, and I had to stay later than other people, and that's how I made up for not being as good in the very beginning. But I knew what I sucked at, and I worked on it. But part of being good is knowing what you suck at too.
Yeah.
What do you suck at?
Honestly, I'm going to give you a cliche gut reaction. I'm going to bring it full circle. And I think my biggest thing is I'm not very good at celebrating wins. So that can take a toll on a person, can take a toll on somebody's life if you don't know how to celebrate wins. Yeah. But the bigger place that plays out is with my team, right? So I've had to learn and honestly hire people who are better at that than I am specifically. Braden, who you guys have met, is great at that. And there's a couple of other people on our team who are really good at that. And just making sure I surround myself with people who can or have more of a propensity to say, oh, wait, this was awesome. We should celebrate it with the team, give them the credit for it before we move on to the next thing. Because when you're just so laser focused on solving a problem, sometimes you just move from one thing to the next without stopping. So I think that honestly is probably my biggest weakness in leadership right now, just because, it leaves people wondering. And
if you need a chief fun officer,
I'll
sorry, I got this.
I'll call Bobby.
CFO.
I got one in-house. Like I said, I hired great people who cover that blind spot. So,
all right, if you just need a professional partier, I got you. We got you covered.
Yeah.
So, but no, I think it's super important. One of the things I do when I have a big refinance or a big close or a big month or something, I'll go out one time, and I'm not going out and popping bottles or anything. I've always
do whatever you enjoy.
And now it's different. I remember one of the first times I got a big check come in my bank account. I went to Applebee's, and so my infatuation for Applebee's. But so now it's just one of those things. I'll just go to Applebee's, kind of as to remember those times.
Yeah,
it's
a ritual.
I don't really.
I don't bug you to take me there forever.
Just,
just don't take me.
You do something, and
yeah,
that's just kind of one of those things. I'll take my family and go celebrate at Applebee's. And
now the kids love it because they get whatever the hell they want. They can order 3 or 4 things. And
I let
you don't
them
let
do
me
it.
order 3 or 4 things.
No, it's because you like to go to Ruby's.
No, I mean
like
it's
Applebee's.
It's super important to do. I love that example, and I think it's cool that you've actually woven that into a place that you can associate it with. I have a journal where I have a couple of pages that I have blocked off for every year where it's just good things that happen, right? And if something happens where it's man, somebody got promoted today and I know it meant the world to them. A small
cool.
memory, it could be I went to somebody's kid's, graduation or something, right? Just anything that could happen, and just logging it. So then at the end of the year, you can look back because you forget the stuff that just happens in the day to day. That's really good.
And 98% of the stuff throughout the day in our lives is just solving problems. So we're constantly just stepping over shit anyway.
Yeah.
And so when you're so stuck in that, you're and that 2% of the time that you do win, now you got the other 98% that's still staring you in the face that you got to go out and solve and all the shit that you're going through. So
100%.
Take a moment, celebrate the win.
Yep, for sure.
I like that. So in closing here, what for the next 5 years, 10 years, where's this company going? Is this something that you're going to hold on to? Is this a legacy play? Is this something that's going to, eventually just blossom out into a brand new company? Are you going to acquire other companies? Where's kind of some of the end game with this?
Microsoft is going to buy it. I'm kidding.
No, So I was actually just telling somebody the other day that we're now 3 years into this. Thousands of closings later at this point, which is crazy to say out loud. And it still feels like the beginning. It still feels like the beginning. It still feels like we're on the ground floor. We have so much we want to do, and I'm, as ready as ever to continue doing that. So I'm super excited to continue going national and just continuing to be on the front end of building the most cutting edge experience for investors and everybody they work with. So I'm super excited. I'm not going to stop until I feel like we've hit our full potential, and I think the sky's the limit on it. I could totally see myself, continuing to build this company for another 10 years.
I think you are the right person in the right company, in the right city, in the right space, too. I mean, I go to these conferences. We go this. That's mainly where we end up and run into each other. And real estate is so changing right now. Like, there's technology in everything, except title.
Yeah.
So, like,
There is now Empora.
There's just not a lot of competition for people trying to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish because it is such a daunting task.
You got a nice head start.
Yeah, it's a daunting task. I was telling one of our investors the other day, he was asking me about why nobody else has solved this problem, and my honest gut reaction was because it's so painful. like, honestly, I mean, what title people deal with, and no matter what city you're in, like, it is a painful job.
Dude, you thought about it.
Yeah.
Remember that, Terry? One day you were like, man, this title, screw these title companies, everything. This is like 5 years ago. Like, we'll just start our own title company. Literally, like, 6 hours later, it's like, yeah, we're not doing that. Never mind.
Yeah.
I looked into it and was trying to assemble the pieces, and I'm like, no.
We thought it was a great idea. Like, yeah, screw that. Let's open our own title company. Yeah, not doing that.
I asked if you would ever have like an acquisition of another business or another vertical or anything like that.
100%.
Like, for our business, one of the verticals we went into was contracting, and you got to start like owning some pieces of the pie, so that way you can be more profitable, make more money, and
not title though,
expand and just have it be congruent together. But title was not one of them for me. That was not it.
It's a ton of work. And the people are everything, right? Like, who you hire is everything. So it's a tough business. But for us, I mean, I think the data companies are a really interesting long-term play for us, because we go and we pay money for all these vendors, and they give us all the information we need to understand the title work and the people. And that could be super interesting, because that's when you can start to really get into, more predictive work that can start to make this whole thing go, 30 days faster.
Yeah, for sure. Closing thoughts. We are just so excited to continue building with entrepreneurs like you guys, and I just feel so lucky to be able to build a company alongside people who, we enjoy working with, and are also building, their own legacies and their own portfolios and their own, versions of entrepreneurship that impact people that deserve it. And it's just been really rewarding to build with you guys over the past few years.
Journey with you too. Likewise.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Favorite band.
Thank you. Favorite band. Oh geez. Right now. No, it's my dad's favorite band though.
Who?
Gee.
No. Yeah. Right. My favorite band is probably the Arctic Monkeys.
They're British too, right?
I don't think they are. Maybe.
I was just trying to name all the British bands, and I only thought of one.
Oh, there's so many.
1975.
They're British.
If you went up to a British person and you said that U2 was British,
they
would make fun of you because they're actually Irish.
Oh,
they are? I didn't know that, actually. Crap.
Yeah. But that's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Bad score today.
Well, we learn something every day.
What's
There
your
we go.
favorite
band?
band?
We'll end on
What's your
that
favorite
one.
band?
That's a tough question.
His own
you know?
I'm in a band.
My top favorite artists.
Here's his favorite band ever.
Tupac. Probably Corner Limp Bizkit. Yes, I
want to see why his favorite band. Look at that guy right
Bob
there.
Marley, Jimmy Buffett, and I would probably say Nas.
Yeah. Nas is amazing.
Yeah, Megan, appreciate you being
Thank
here.
you so much.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you, Megan. Thank
Yes, thank you. Thanks
All
for
right.
having us.
And we thank your entourage as well. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in to the Scalers Only Show, where we talk real estate, business, lifestyle, and we do crappy English accents from time to time. Hello.
Cheerio.
Nice. Until next time, guys. Peace.